Hi guys, welcome back to BS Rugby, and the final game of the Autumn Nations series this weekend is Scotland against the Australians at BT Murrayfield. And of course, because it's a Scotland game, I have to get a Scotsman on the channel. Dan from the wonderful Facebook group Stuck in the Scrum joins me. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very, very well. Looking forward to this one. And just before we get on with it, you've got to mention we are going to be doing a live watch along for this game. Massive game at Murrayfield. Coverage starts at 2 o'clock on the channel. Kickoff is at 2:15. So do join us live. There'll be a link in the description. Make sure you click on it and hit the reminder ready for that one. So Scotland against Australia. Australia have the upper hand on the amount of games they've won compared to Scotland. But last time out, what a result. 53 points to 24. Hugh Jones at the centre of it. Good memories from that day?
Yeah, very blurry memories from that day. I think Scotland were at the point back then that they were just sort of on the upward tick, and Australia were in a bit of transition at the same time, going on their way down. It didn't help that they got a man sent off sort of early doors, Australia, and they were playing with 14 men for most of the game, playing with 13 men for one point of it. But I mean, Scotland were just all over them that day. Australia, I didn't think showed Scotland much respect on that day. It won't be the same this time. So yes, Scotland won't get that easy run in that they did last time. Not a chance.
Yeah, well, I've got to say as well, I was looking at the results and I was quite impressed to see that you actually, the second to most recent game was actually in Australia, and you won that one, 24 points to 19 out in Sydney. And then the one previous to that, back in 2016 at Murrayfield, was a really close one, 22 points to 23.
Yeah.
But let's talk about last week against the Tongans, winning 60 points to 14. What impressed you about the performance? Because we have to point to context that Tonga weren't great. They weren't with their best players, but Scotland rotated really heavily. And I was impressed by them. What were the main things that impressed you?
Oh, a lot of the new starters. Well, I think Scotland had 8-9 new starters. I played against Tonga. Look, it was a very weakened Tongan side. They're going through a horrible time at the moment, but I think they're getting a good share of the gate receipts off the Scotland games, so that'll help them along the way. But yeah, that was a very underprepared Tongan side, but you can't really take anything away from them. They played well. They got the one try they did well, but for Scotland's point of view, they got to try a team that they would never usually feel. Yet Rufus McLean had, what a debut. The 2 tries he scored were incredible. The speed he's at, I think I mentioned last week that compared to last season, the amount of muscle that man's put on, and he's only gotten faster. God, easy. He'll be bigger than Duhan van der Merwe if he doubles up again next year. But he's going to be one to watch. I was quite disappointed that he didn't get a bench spot against Australia. I really thought he would have been there. Pierre Schumann, I've been screaming about him for 2-3 years now. Oh, it was so good to see him. His Instagram page is proper embrace Scottish culture. It's all kilts, tartan trousers, Edinburgh Castle. It's all just he's embraced being Scottish, and the man is a monster. And he got a well-deserved try in his debut. I was glad for him. Kyle Steyn really, really surprised me. I thought that he was sort of like decent enough international sort of player. I didn't think he would emerge and score, 4 tries in one game. I think the last player to do that since Gavin Hastings at Murrayfield for, you're going back donkey's years then. So I think all around the park he did good. Blair Kinghorn at 10 wasn't as bad as what I thought he'd be. I mean, the only thing, his goal kicking needs a lot of work. His kicking from hand was all right, though, and I still prefer him at 15 to run from deep. We've got less cover at 15 than we do at 10, because after a hog, you would probably put Kinghorn in after him. As much as we won the game, I have a feeling that he missed 4 or 5 kicks in the game. I think he was like 2 from 7, 3 from 7. if Finn Russell had missed that many kicks in a game, or Adam Hastings had, the scrutiny that they would have been under would have been incredible. Other than his goal kicking, though, Kinghorn actually had an all right game. His kicking from hand was good. His running was good. He read the game pretty well. But yeah, he did all right.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance from Scotland. What I enjoyed was their freedom, the freedom they played. Yes, Tonga weren't great, but you can only play what's in front of you. For Australia, they played a couple of weeks ago against the Japanese, getting a win out in Japan, winning that one by 32 points to 23. And they're actually on a really good run of form in the past 5. And in September, they beat the Springboks twice. Quade Cooper, that's a blast from the past, getting the winning penalty in one of those dramatic wins, and also beating the Argentinians twice as well. So they come into this on good form, seem to be revitalised under former Glasgow Warriors head coach Dave Rennie. So it'll be interesting to see him back at Murrayfield. Let's take a look at the team, because the team's been announced, and I'll get your thoughts on it. We'll start with the fullback then. Stuart Hogg comes back in at fullback as captain, with Darcy Graham and Duan van der Merwe on the wings. Duan van der Merwe, of course, coming back in, with Sam Johnson and Chris Harris in the centres. Ali Price and Finn Russell are the halfback pairing, with the front row being Pierre Schumann, George Turner and Xander Fagerson. The lock partnership then is Sam Skinner and Grant Gilchrist, with Jamie Ritchie, the mullet man, or the used to be mullet man, Hamish Watson at 7, and Matt Fagerson then playing at 8, leaving a bench of Ewan Ashman, Jamie Batty, Ollie Kebble, Jamie Hodson, Josh Bayliss, George Horn, Adam Hastings and Kyle Stain. Dan, what was your immediate reaction to that team? For me, that's a very strong Scottish side, isn't it?
It is. I mean, Gregor is been known for the last couple of years just to throw out a squad that surprised you. Oh, bloody hell, I didn't see that coming. Hogg at 10. Blair at Kinghorn at 10. He likes to throw just random things at you. And this one, I think if you got all the Scottish fans, you showed them the list of players they had available, I think most of them would have put down this as their starting squad. I think going into now the build-up to the World Cup, it's good to see that Scotland sort of know what their best team is. There's still one or two that can break through, the likes of Rufus McLean, for example. It's a shame that Rory Sutherland's going to miss out due to injury. But, even the players up on the bench, like Hastings' form at Gloucester is phenomenal. But no, I'm really happy to see that squad.
Yeah, I think it is a strong squad. Jesus Christ, fireworks, fuck me. Anyway, I was loud. But yeah, it is a really strong squad. How much of a boost is it to have the likes of Finn Russell back, Hogg back, Duan back, Chris Harris back? How big of a boost is that to this Scottish side?
Yeah, really, really big. The only thing I'm a little bit fearful of is, unlike the Australians that played a lot of rugby, some of these guys haven't played a lot, so they might not be match fit. I mean, the front three, like Pierre Schumann and I think Xander Fagerson, I don't know. I don't think he's played any rugby since the Lions. He may have had one game for Glasgow. I can't really remember. I mean, doing your locks. Sam Skinner, I'm delighted to see back in the squad. I've been a big fan of his. I think he's brilliant for Exeter. I'd love to see sort of him paired up with Johnny Gray if they're both fit. I think they're Scotland's best locks. Gilchrist, he's been on good form, so I can see why he's picked. Jamie Ritchie, he's been on fire since he come back. He's going to be some player, and he's only turned 25 recently. I forget how young he is. He is going to be around for a long time. Hamish Watson, I mean, he doesn't have the mullet, but I'm sure he still has all the power. Matt Fagerson seems to be Gregor Townsend preferred choice 8. I'm not sure if I'd go that way, but look, he's not put a foot wrong so far. So I can't really say much about it. He's a young lad as well. He's only about 23, 24. Price probably came out of the line squad as one of the better players. Good to see Finn Russell playing at 10 as well. Everyone knows what he can bring. I arguably, or in my opinion, he's up there with Bowden Barrett. He's one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. I mean, I know I'm looking at it with tartan tinted spectacles, but I think it's incredible. He's calmed down a lot, and I've noticed he's vice captain for this game. So from 3 pints gate a couple of years ago when he got booted from the squad to really calming down and taking a leadership role, I think he showed how much Finn Russell has grown in the last couple of years. Duhan van der Merwe on fire for Worcester at the moment, scored 2 tries in his last game, and he is looking bigger, fitter, and stronger than he did last season. I didn't think that was possible. Sam Johnson's got a shirt that fits him now, which is good. Chris Harris, again, doing great. Darcy Graham, probably the on-form player of the United Rugby Championship. He is electric at the moment. Maybe didn't have the best game at fullback, but the wing is his best position. And, Stuart Hogg speaks for himself, really. He's calm, collected. I think Scotland will utilise the 50-22 rule going forward here. Hogg's got those incredible spiral kicks that he can launch at 80, 90 metres. I'd really like to see how they control the game because they play a very similar style to the Australians.
Yeah, I think it's an extremely strong squad. And as you said, having those players coming back in who are playing well will make a massive difference to this Scottish side. But as you just mentioned, the Australians have been playing quite a lot. They played in the Rugby Championship, had a bit of a renaissance over the past 6 months or so under Dave Rennie. They've also named their squad, so I'll go through it now. Apologies if I butcher any of these pronunciations. It's not quite as difficult as the Tongans last week, but we'll go through them. Starting with the fullback, Andrew Kellaway plays at fullback with Tom Wright and Jordan Patia on the wing, with a centre partnership then of Hunter Paisami and Len Ikitau. Got that one right. A throwback, James O'Connor plays at 10. Of course, there is no Craig Cooper. He's decided to stay in Japan. Nick White plays at 9. In the front row, then you got James Slip and Falau Fayanga. Alan Alalatoa plays in the front row as well. The locks then are Rory Arnold and Isaac Roder, with Rob Leota. Michael Hooper is the captain, very, very experienced, and Rob Valentini is at 8. Leaving a bench of Conal McInerney, Angus Bell, Taniele Tupou, Will Skelton, Pete Samu, Tate McDermott, Curtly Beale, and Isaiah Perez. It's a strong team. What do you make of that as a Scotsman?
It's what you expected. And it's Dave Rennie as well. He's going to have 1 or 2 tricks up his sleeves. He knows most of those Scottish players. He managed Glasgow for years. He thrives in anarchy. The more disruption, the better. So I fully expect Australia to try use Scotland's own game plan against them. They're going to try play fast. They're going to try disrupt the flow of it. They're going to try disrupt Scotland's kicking game. They're going to try break on the counter like Scotland do. So I expect to see, a very high-scoring game, end-to-end stuff. It's not going to be, the slow pick and drive or playing for territory. These are 2 teams that are going to really, really go at each other.
Yeah, I think this could be a really exciting game, quite open. Sunday afternoon, after having the Sunday roast, you just sit back on the sofa and just watch and enjoy. I think that's the way that you got to do it. I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at 2 battles.
Okay.
In the game. One of them, I think these are the 2 outstanding players really on the pitch for me and who have been on form recently, is these 2 men, Hamish Watson and Michael Hooper. Both at the breakdown are absolute menaces and are very comfortable with ball in hand. Talk to me first about Hamish Watson. What makes him such a good player and what makes him so important to Scotland, do you think?
Well, for Scotland fans, we've always known, how big he is. I think in the Northern Hemisphere, people shouted about Tom Curry for years and years and years. And north of the wall, we always thought he was he could outplay Curry. He's strong. He's at the breakdown. He's a little pit bull, low center of gravity. He's strong. He's bounces players off him for fun. Fantastic at the breakdown. Great steal. good line-out threat as well. I mean, he scored that set piece that Scotland played against South Africa, I think just pre-COVID, where he darted through the line just to go over the try line. So he's a little ball of anger. I'm hoping his power isn't gone with his hair, but well, we'll have to wait and see. Hooper, hugely experienced. Not to say that Hamish isn't, but Hooper has been around for a long, long time. I think that when it comes to pure skill, I'd have to give it to Hamish Watson. But Hooper's just got that little bit more experience. And that's something you can't train. It's only learned with time. I just hope that, the defeats and the victories Hamish Watson's had with Scotland and from the Lions call-up, he's learned a lot, we hope, enough to see out his counterpart.
Yeah, I think Michael Hooper over the ball, it really took over from David Pocock when he retired, took over that role of being the jackler at the breakdown and just being a menace and really not always legally doing the right thing, but managing to slow the ball down and being a bit of a nuisance there. And again, both players are so comfortable in the loose, aren't they? They're so comfortable with ball in hand. The other big battle that I felt that could be key to Saturday is this one, Jamie Ritchie against Rob Valentini. Jamie Ritchie, for me, has been one of the unsung heroes of Scottish rugby over the past few years. He just gets on with the job and actually leads really well. Of course, he was second captain in a way, co-captain last week. And then Valentini is just a huge ball carrier who's really burst onto the scene recently, offers Australia that way of getting on the front foot, getting over the gain line. But then Jamie Ritchie is different to Valentini, isn't he? In the fact that he'll be at the breakdown and in the loose, he's very comfortable. So how do you see this battle panning out on Sunday?
Well, he might not be as powerful as Valentini, but what he is he's faster. I think his ball skills are better. He's a better passer of the ball. I mean, I'm not sure, have you seen the highlight of his offload in the Fiji game, the behind the back offload? I mean, Ritchie is incredible, and like I said earlier, I keep forgetting the age that he is. He's only just turned 25. Like, make no doubts about it, this guy is going to be Scotland's captain in a couple of years' time. I mean, touch wood, barring any horrific injury. After, I think Hogg's tenure will last another year, maybe two. I'm not sure if on the World Cup, if Townsend will keep Hogg as captain. If not, certainly after, I would fully expect, Jamie Ritchie, once he comes to, 26, 27, 28, to take the reins off a Hogg. But no, it's a battle I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fascinating battle. So finally, let's talk a little bit about the game plan. We expect Scotland to throw the ball about. Australia maybe not quite as loose as Scotland are in their attack. But what do you think will be the game plan for Scotland? Do you think they'll kick a lot? Do you think they'll look to run it a lot? What do you think will be the tactic for them?
I think we'll run quite a bit. I think we'll make use of the new 50-22 rule a lot. Again, Finn Russell's got a phenomenal, you know the word, game management. He's a great kicker, great passer. Hogg, if they're in trouble, has got that spiral on them. And if you just look at that Scottish backline, the amount of players that can run at you, that wasn't a backline that was made to defend. Price, Russell, Van der Merwe, Darcy Graham, Stuart Hogg, Chris Harris, Sam Johnson. They're going to run holes through you. I don't expect it to be a slow game at all. It's going to be really high tempo, really fast pace. I think that Australia is going to try to match that. So it'll be interesting to see, who can play faster. I think annoyingly, you might see a little bit of kicking tennis. If Scotland try to kick for territory, you'll probably find the Australians will try to do it straight back. Hard to do against Hogg, though, just because of the range he's got. I think Wales were the only team to figure that out last Six Nations. The way that you kick against Scotland is you don't. But, I'm expecting a really, really high tempo game.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the big thing for Scotland is if you are going to kick loosely to them, you look at the likes of Darcy Graham, Stuart Hogg especially is one of the best attacking fullbacks in the world. He's going to run back at you. He's either going to put the up and under or he's going to find that space. Finn Russell then is an absolute maverick. But as you said, I think he has matured. I think he does understand he needs to control the game better. He can't just be trying to throw these passes every 10 seconds. It's about knowing when it's on. I'm going to ask you the big question then. How do you see this one going? What are your predictions? Let's ask in a different way, though. What's your heart saying and what's your head saying? So what's your heart saying, first of all? Scotland by how much?
I'd like to say Scotland by about 8 is what my heart's saying anyway. My head says it's on a knife edge. I was thinking about this morning and I keep dancing between which way it's going to go. Realistically, I don't see either side winning this by more than 4 or 5 points. I mean, man for man, if Scotland were further into the season or if it was one of our latter games in the series, I could have comfortably said probably Scotland. I still got to say Scotland by 4. That's my official prediction. I'm going to say Scotland by 4. But, if Australia take it, I wouldn't be surprised. But nobody's going to walk away with this one.
No, I think it's going to be close as well. As you said, that thing of, you played Tonga last week. The step up this week is going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely massive.
4 gears higher.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be massive. And I think the physical battle is going to be so important. Whoever can get the platform to play, and you look at those back lines, and if they can get the platform, if Finn Russell can get the platform, or James O'Connor can get the platform to play, then I think whoever wins that battle will win this game. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to back Australia. I am going to back Australia just because they've won 5 games on the bounce, beaten the Springboks, beaten Argentina, been playing against real top level players, but I think it'll be really close. I would probably say 3 points in it, something like that. And that would mean that Scotland would have to kick all their penalties, have to be very accurate from the boots. And I think it's going to be really close, but quite high scoring. I'm going to say something like 35-32 to Australia. Could you give me a score prediction?
Oh, yeah, I'd say about the same. I could see sort of like a 27-32 sort of thing, or 32-27, I should say. There's not going to be a huge amount in it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match. Just before we go then, just a reminder about that watch along on Sunday, kick off at 2:15. So join us live from 2 o'clock, link down below, hit the reminder. Dan, thank you so much for joining me once again. Good luck to Scotland, and I'm sure we'll chat next week ahead of, who have you got? Is it the Springboks you got?
Springboks are next, yeah.
Oh, it just gets easier, doesn't it?